Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. My new computer has arrived, and let's hope we can actually get this unboxing done. It's windy outside and our power's been out 3 times already. So I've got the Mac Mini, except I got the top tier one, and I loaded her up with 16 gigs of RAM and half a terabyte of hard drive space, because boy do I need it. Also, we've got a Vital powered USB-A hub, which is 3.0. MX keys for Mac Logitech keyboard. Illuminates, really cool, and it even senses when you get near to it and lights the keys up. I've got some extra flash drives because I'm going to have to back up the Monterey operating system, and of course the matching MX Master 3 mouse to go along with that keyboard. Not a bad way to spend, well, altogether I spent a little over $2,000. I went a little bit outside of the budget, but it was easy because I ended up being able to sell off a couple of things I didn't need, which helped me buy a couple of extras. So let's get this stuff open and set up and see what it looks like. So I'm going to start with the Mac Mini, and of course I'll just fast forward through all of this so it saves time. Okay guys, we're set up, and I went to my buddy's last night, so yeah, after the unboxing, we cut it, I took off. Went over to my buddy's place, loaded this thing up with a whack load of programs. He also taught me how to use Wineskin, which is an interesting program for converting PC programs to run on a Mac. But anyways, she's all set up, rocking and rolling. The only thing I have not done was install my MCP Beats, or whatever it's called, for the MIDI stuff. But I had to have those units attached in order to connect all my MIDI stuff anyway, so whatever. So I got my CD-ROM attached, my Apple Super Drive. We got everything set. My hub is actually fastened down good to the table, so it's not going to budge. And of course everything else is set up, and I've been doing some testing in here this morning. Because, of course, you know, you're running a new computer, you got to set up all your assignments through your software once again. But I got to tell you, so far, I am really frigging excited about this machine. When you are running native apps that run under the M1 chip, this thing is a flippin' bullet. You know, I'm like, wow, that's a huge difference from an Intel machine. And anyway, so under Rosetta, things are obviously a little bit slower, right? And you got to expect that. It's you know, kind of like a more of an emulation sort of dealy, right? And then when you try running a Wineskin program that you've converted, I mean, you're converting and then trying to run that with the Rosetta 2, and things are a little bit slow to launch, but they're not slow. This thing is still leagues and miles, even running apps that use Rosetta. It is still way faster than an Intel machine. But native running apps, wow, this thing rockets. Speaking of rockets, the hard drive. I don't know what the full rating of it is, but I got disk speed test here doing a 5 gigabyte load stress test. And we're popping 2,500 and change on the write speed and 2894 on the read. Congratulations, Apple. Thank you. You finally got a fast SSD going, even soldered to the motherboard. That is fantastic. So that's very impressive for that, because my hard drive, actually, or SSD drive, you call it NVMe, attaches direct to my motherboard on my PC, and that thing is rated for over 3,000 megabits per second, and it's a rocket. I get enough time to hit the power switch on my PC. I can actually get to turn around and start to walk out the door, and it's ready to sign in. This thing fires up so fast, it's faster than my screen. I push the button on this thing, I go to push the power button on that, and before that's even lit up, this has already been waiting to be signed into, and I'm like, that's fast. That's like really insane. So that's pretty encouraging. I mean, if you haven't experienced the M1 processors yet, you gotta. I mean, they're really good, okay? I do have a lot of testing to do yet before I do a final review, of course, or a review period on the Mini. But the reason why I went for the mini instead of like a MacBook Air, which was definitely affordable, right? $1,300. It was a lot cheaper because this one here with 16 gigs of RAM and half a terabyte hard drive, that set me back just shy of $1,800 just for the computer. You know, so that was a lot of money, but to me worthwhile because I couldn't even get an iMac as a 16 by half a terabyte for the same kind of money, right? Mind you, you got a 4.5K display with that, and a keyboard and mouse, and all that other jazz. You know, I mean, this I had to buy I had to buy my own keyboard and mouse that I wanted, and of course, I already have a display. Now, the display I have, of course, you guys have seen it many times. It's my 32-inch 2K display, and though it works and is a very beautiful picture on this computer, I still want to go to the 4K display level, or maybe. Well, no, I think I pretty much stop at 4 because even a 5K display, that's a lot of money that I really can't justify it, but I can definitely justify a 4K. And this thing is 4K at the back on the HDMI anyway, but you can hook a single 6K display to it. But I think the highest I would definitely go is 4K because I don't need more than that anyways for all the stuff I do. It's not like I'm a graphic arts company or a professional movie maker in that sense of I'm not making the next version of John Wick or anything. You know what I mean? So I don't need that kind of sort of stuff, right, for that kind of reproduction in front of my face. So 2K is adequate, works really nice. 4K definitely is going to be in my future as soon as I can get some money together to get a 4K display. However, in the meantime, I do have my hub attached. It's a powered hub. I would highly recommend do not use any hubs unless they're powered hubs. Otherwise, you stand a chance of cooking your ports. Because one of the things I've been noticing on YouTube videos of guys who complain about, their ports are gone down or whatever, and they're using hubs, and they're wondering if the hub is the problem. Well, the hub in itself might not be the actual problem, but the problem is they're using unpowered hubs and loading them right to the bore. Okay? A powered hub, you can load it to the bore and have everything turned on and not hurt anything because it's under separate power for your devices, right? And every device has a different amount of milliamps or amperage that it chews up, which is why, even for me, I know that my USB interface, the one I have, chews a lot of amperage, so it's on its own port regardless. And then that frees me up 7 ports on my hub, and 2 of which are my MIDI keyboards, and then of course I have my CD-ROM here, and I've got my microphone. And I can turn them on and off, so if I don't need it, I just simply turn it off. If I do need it, I turn it on, then I launch my program. And speaking of programs, wow! Okay, so I was running Logic Pro X and GarageBand for a while, then I got onto Logic Pro. And it's kind of like, why go backwards to Pro X when you've got Pro? So the only thing I loaded back on here, it came with GarageBand, so I maxed out all of its updates. And I've got Logic Pro, which I've updated right to the chute. And this is fun. Watch how fast this computer is. Boom. Now that is flipping fast. I love this. That is definitely a huge improvement over an Intel chipped Mac. Nothing wrong with them, but this is nicer. Nice, love it, fantastic. Even GarageBand is really quick. It's faster than I am. And I love the fact that I got a 32-inch display. That's great. Because even when I go 4K, I'm going to go 32. I can't go smaller again. Once you get used to it, that's it. Anyways, so we also have a bunch of programs installed that, of course, are non-native apps. One of which is Unreal Tournament. We'll fire that up for you guys. Now, firing up non-native apps, and especially ones that have been wine-skinned, like Unreal's been wine-skinned, it's a little bit different for the boots times. You know, I find that that's a little bit on the slower side, but you got to expect that. Well, come on, fire up. Maybe my, oh, there we go. Okay.
Welcome to Deathmatch Combat Training. Deathmatch is a sport in which you compete against other gun-wielding players in a fast-paced free-for-all. The object is to destroy all of your enemies by any means necessary. Every time you take an enemy,
really nice.
you get a point called a frag in game maneuver. You can see your frag count on the left side of the screen. At the end of the game, the player with the most frags wins the match.
We were both shocked Unreal Tournament worked on the M1 chip. That was really shocking. We do have a lot of other games too. You know, I mean, not a lot. I mean, I didn't buy this thing for gaming, but I do have Fallout New Vegas. We actually wine-skinned that one to run. And I've got a couple apps that I always had in my app store. And of course, Minecraft. You gotta have Minecraft. So I'll be doing some Minecrafting over the winter for sure, and doing some videos doing Minecrafting. It's been a while since I've actually played Minecraft, and so I kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to do some testing between my PC and, of course, my new Mac Mini. And my PC is a steroided machine too. It's also an 8-core machine. And I do want to do some competitions between the two, especially with Cinebench. The interesting part will be I have one screen that's attached to both, so I have to do the test on this and then show the results, do the test on the other one, show the results, and you know, unless I get another screen, and I'll just throw another screen and we can do them side by side, which probably would be the better way, I guess, to do it. But we'll see when that happens. But I did Cinebench it last night. You know, this thing runs so ice cold, it is crazy. Even Cinebench, 10 minutes of all what Cinebench does to this thing. For testing, it was like this thing didn't even really break a sweat. Like, what up, you know? And I've also loaded in Final Cut as well, because I wanted yet another editor to play with. And of course, Final Cut, apparently everybody's using Final Cut. Okay, fine. So I've got DaVinci Resolve 17, Final Cut Pro, and iMovie, and I'm gonna play around with the three of them to see which one I personally like the best. You know, technically speaking, when it comes to doing cut, cheesy kind of editing, I prefer to use my PC. Okay, it's just my preference, right? But if I wanted to do something more intense, that's what I would use the Mac for. And I'm thinking, well, I want to kind of up the ante on a lot of things too. So let's play around with the three and see just what each one benefits or doesn't benefit us from. So that's what I'm going to be doing over the next while, experimenting with for those three video editors. But otherwise, now as far as the video goes, Blackmagic Raw Speed Test. This tests your CPU and for metal as well. So we'll fire that test up. So we have 75 frames per second on the CPU, 214 frames per second on metal so far. And it's going to do things until it's all done with its numbers and whatnot. We got a few things with X's in them. That's acceptable. And that's our first shot. So that's not bad. So we'll let it go one more time. See how close it does it the second round. So we got 75 and 216 FPS. So CPU metal. Now you can also load this up into the 8K level as well. You'll see how well it does with certain 8K stuff. So that's a 12 to 1 on 8K. Okay. There. Now we'll leave it go. So let's see how it does on 8K CPU, 8K metal. So on the CPU, that's actually not bad. 18 frames per second. CPU metal is 53. And we did, I think, pretty good on this one, even considering the X's that we have. That's not bad. That's a pretty impressive little machine. So, and of course, you can also, take this right down to, let's go HD 12 to 1. There you go, 301 frames per second CPU, 860 frames per second on metal. That's impressive. It's pretty good. Anyways, that's a little bit of testing, so stay tuned. We'll do some events and other programs as well. In the meantime, guys, thanks so much for watching and hanging out for this, for our unboxing and little show of it. Definitely you'll see a lot more of this thing, and I will be using it like crazy. I'm really happy with the purchase. I think it was the best way to go, especially with the Mini, for my requirements and for what I was able to afford and be able to get done what I need done, right? So anyways, thanks for watching. Do stay tuned. There will be a review down the road, but there will be other stuff, of course, happening before the review because I do have a lot of thorough testing myself that I want to do with this, and I want more time using a powered hub off of this thing. And I'm still waiting for my video capture card to come in. I ordered a video capture card in so I could use my camcorder as a webcam, and we're going to try and see how well that works out for us with using a camcorder. I'm very curious to see the results on it. The one that I ordered seemed to have a lot of good word to say about it, especially among Mac users, but even PC users. A lot of them had a good word to say about it, and there are some people who are just not happy. And you know what? You can't make the whole world happy, that's for sure. So anyways, thanks again, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya!